All sonichu material is copyrighted March 17, 2000 by me, Christian Weston Chandler. Any names or persons, except for myself, that may seem similar to anyone in real life or fiction are purely coincidental or otherwise parodic.
In the annals of internet infamy, one name stands out. Chris Chan. A figure whose life, both bizarre and tragic, mirrors the rise of a modern-day dictator.
It's pretty empty.
Oh boy, okay, now I just feel like I have to do this. First time in here, I feel like I gotta do this. Hello, my name is Apu. I went to...
No. You don't have to do that. That's right.
Welcome to Quickie Mart.
Hello.
Like a tyrant bent on controlling a fractured reality, Chris Chan's obsessive need for power and recognition spirals into a dangerous manipulation of truth.
Don't call anybody.
It's your fan.
And that was the bar too.
His erratic actions, often delusional, are reminiscent of authoritarian leaders who bend the world to their will, using propaganda and ego as their tool.
Don't follow her. Yeah, those are trolls. They're following me from the internet. Do not report this.
I think that's real. Oh my God, what is this?
I am Christian Sonichu, your goddess blue heart.
A self-proclaimed ruler of his digital kingdom, Chris Chan's descent into madness and control has left a legacy of chaos, forever entwined with the dangers of unchecked power in an online world.
Is there anybody else in the room? Wait, check.
Spirit bell interdimensionally?
No.
Hey everybody, Christine Chandler here. The merge is on. I have gone back to May 2009 to finish some things, and soon the merge will be completed. To all of you who believed in me this whole time, blessed. And to all of you who did not believe until you saw me here, you are all cursed. Okay. It's happening now. We're on the very last thread.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Yeah, fuck, doing it live.
Fuck it, we'll do it live. Tonight on Stumbling Down History Road, we're going to be talking about a very interesting and very well documented person. Probably the most documented person on the internet. It's Christian Weston Chandler, or Chris Chan, or whatever they want to be referred to as these days. The goddess of Quickville, whatever. You may know them from sonichu.
You might.
I'm Jackson. That's Jeff.
I'm D.
So, how do we unfuck this pig?
That's a way to put it there, yeah.
Well, I mean, we have to start somewhere, and it is quite a place to start. It is quite a place to start. So, go ahead.
Are we starting from the top, or are we starting from the middle? Where are we starting?
Let's do like a 10-minute synopsis of pre-sonichu.
You ever see that? I saw this meme where when they first got arrested, it was like it was like me explaining to somebody like 10 hours in about why and it's like, but what does this have to do with the autistic guy raping his mother? We'll get there when we get there.
Yeah. So
We will.
So Christopher Weston Chandler, or Christian Weston Chandler, or Christine Weston Chandler, or sonichu, or whatever they want to go by. They were born in 1982, February 24th, to Richmond, Virginia.
In Richmond, Virginia.
In Richmond, Virginia. You're right. I'm so sorry. They lived in Charlottesville for a bit. And the father was Robert.
Robert Weston Chandler?
Yeah. It's so weird talking about such a figure.
I mean, we joke and lampshade the fucker constantly anyway.
Yeah, but again, like, it's so weird to actually like try and delve into
Commodify this shit.
Yeah, I mean, there's gonna be I'm gonna say right now, if you want, for whatever reason, over 2 days worth of actual like in-depth documentary style understanding of this person,
Like 3.5 days now or some shit.
it's
like
2.5
that.
at the moment. Geno Samuel.
Somebody did the whole time.
Yeah, check out Geno Samuel and their
I could have sworn it was, like,
85-part Chris Chan history. It's nuts.
I could have fucking sworn that it was like almost 100 hours worth of footage.
Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, honestly, like the first 5 episodes, the first 5 parts are just like H to 10. It's nuts.
I honestly can't watch the first 3-4 episodes, mostly because hello everybody in the chat. Anyway, sorry, I'm pissing off my brother with this one. But yeah, no, I can't watch the first 4 because somebody with a what's it called,
High
child.
functioning. Yeah.
It's like, oh, fuck, this hits me right in the personals.
Yeah. Self-described as a high-functioning autistic. The mayor of
And
Quickville,
do not
the
ever
goddess-
say Asperger's. They fucking hate that one.
Yeah. This person has hit people with a car, assaulted GameStop employees, committed vile acts with their mother, all for the sake of the universe.
Well, that last one may or may not have been alleged, and you know whatever. It would well, no, we'll get there. But yeah, no, the dimensional merge that they are on about constantly.
Yeah, that's their current big thing.
So, well, it's been their big thing since I want to say 2019ish. I think it's with the idea, guys. But we'll get there. We'll get there. Let's fall back to start a little bit with the beginning. So yeah, born in what originally he was Christopher Weston Chandler, and then there's actually so this guy's lore goes back to like forever, like
It's in 1984 when they were born.
1982, whatever.
No, 84.
I thought you said he was 82.
Yeah, 82. But
Whatever.
it goes back to, yeah, whatever. So Robert Chandler and Barbara Chandler, they were not the first marriage. This was Robert's second marriage.
This was Robert's second marriage. And,
he was older. He was a former post-stamp collector and things like this.
Yeah, he had his own little life before that.
Barbara and him split for a little bit, so this way they can... they weren't, like, divorced, but they split for a little bit so that they can try and entertain as best as they can, like, the needs of Chris at school with his gal pals and getting the help that he needs. And they really fought to get him into public school and things like that, and it just...
I mean, the gal pals thing is its own other...
Yeah.
Song and dance, like it's a whole everything we bring up brings like a whole song and dance behind it involving this fucker.
Yeah,
like,
Geno Samuel will have 20 minutes about any one thing we mention. Again, it's insane the amount of coverage and documentation. Most of this all got popularized based off of like the 2008 to 2011 4chan Reddits, just trying to figure out the insanity that was Chris Chan.
Yeah, Chris Chan was like the first real big lol cow to coin the term lol cow.
Yeah, and it also it just kind of like culminated based off of their super aggressive and super massive freakouts to trolls and bullying online, and you know anybody
and in person too,
and in person, and people impersonating them. I mean, there's been like 10 different people that tried to impersonate Chris Chan online just because they wanted to get a rise.
No, there's just the one guy who tried to impersonate Chris Chan. You're thinking of that's Liquid Chris, and then it was like there's a lot of fake female friends. I don't think there's ever really been too many.
Well, I was just talking about like more animosity style ones, like people on Reddit and 4chan trying to do that. Like there's dozens of people just being like.
I mean, but anybody could take up a keyboard and then try and pretend to be them, even like a shit post. But like the actual real like notable troll, Liquid Chris, they. Do you want me to grab you a napkin? It's
Nope.
Have a napkin anyway. So anyway, the actual Yeah, no, so Liquid Chris was just the one guy, and he pretended to be Christian. He even got, like, a brown version of the same shirt that Chris wore. And, like, Chris is famous for the, that
Red and
blue
blue stripe.
polo shirt, yeah.
And the Sonichu
Medallion and the glasses.
made specifically out of Crayola.
Magic Maker clay or something? Yeah.
It's a whole big, like, I don't even know what to say about Chris Chan. Like, other than not sponsored, Foster's Australian for Con.
Anyway, so, like, but Christian, like, yeah, no, so they originally referred to as Christopher. That was their birth name. And then they actually changed their name when it wasn't
a bear, but it was an animatronic at a mall.
Yeah, it was an animatronic at a mall. It was one of those, like, it was like pre-Chuck E. Cheese, but Chuck E. Cheese...
adjacent.
Yeah, whatchamajigger, like entertainment things.
Yeah.
And they misheard Chris's name. Instead of being Christopher, they heard it as Christian or whatever, or mispronounced it. And then they saw it as, like, and I'm kidding you not here, they literally saw it as, like, a sign from God or whatever, that Christopher's name should be Christian. So they went at, like, age 4, legally changed this kid's name.
This made newspapers.
Yeah.
This made local news.
Yeah, they legally changed this kid's name at, like, age 4. And, so...
Oh,
yeah.
did we talk about the fact that for, like, you know, the first 5 years of their life, other than the animatronics, he was basically mute because he was abused as a kid by his babysitter.
Yeah, so, yeah, I was like, when Christopher was, like, 2 or something like that, their babysitter, I think, locked him in a closet or whatever. Yeah, locked him in a closet. You
for, like, 36 hours
Kelly.
or something.
Anyway. For like, they locked him in a closet for, like, several hours.
Because they wouldn't stop crying.
Yeah. And then from, like, the age of, like, 2 to, like, 5 or some shit like that, didn't utter, like, a single word. Oh, this is also my...
Other than to animatronics.
Yeah, except I think this may or may not have had something to do with, like, his autism, too, which, you know...
He's a high-functioning autistic.
But... Anyway, so yeah, so they didn't... they refused, like, speak until they're, like, 5. And then they got the whole, you know, Christian... And then from there, their next big thing was, I think, at, like, age 6 or 7, where they won a shopping spree from Sega. And this is actually what I think started
the obsession with
Sonic. Was he won a local, like, video game store shopping spree or something along those lines. I don't remember the exact specifics. Mm-hmm. And he was featured on the news, and he was, like, 6 or 7 at the time. And so the... yeah, so they fell in love with Sonic through that shopping spree and stuff, whatever, and won. And then I think the next big...
was the Rock Band contest.
Not the Rock Band.
Guitar Hero. It was the Guitar Hero contest. That was the next big one for them.
I thought it was the Parappa the Rappa one. I thought it was...
You're right. Parappa the Rappa was before Guitar Hero.
The Parappa the Rappa was what first launched them into the start of the infamy, because they made the video accusing the person of cheating to win the Parappa the Rappa contest, because they were trying to win, like, I think it was like a trip for 2 to Japan or Paris or something like that. It was like a trip to Japan, Paris, and, like, also like custom Parappa the Rappa PSPs. And they were trying to do it so they can impress the Julie, which we'll get into in a second. But yeah, they were trying to impress, and, like, you know, so they could go on, like, a romantic getaway with the Julie, but they lost, and so they made the video where they accused the winner of cheating or whatever it was and said, rescind your winnings or whatever. And then that's what kind of first, like, introduced Christian to the main...
They were, like, honestly one of the earliest adapters of YouTube as well.
Oh, yeah.
They started their YouTube channel in, like, 01.
Unironically, they're considered one of the first Let's Players.
Yeah.
They were considered, like, the person who invented the Let's... almost, like, not...
One of the people who...
Yeah, but, like, one of the people who invented the Let's Play genre by doing the,
Parappa the Rappa.
No, it was, It was actually... I think it was, they were doing a tour of... Was it Stardew Valley?
Animal Crossing? Stardew Valley wasn't a thing at the time.
maybe Harvest Moon.
Mm.
It was either Harvest Moon or like Animal Crossing, and they were doing
One of those types of things.
Yeah, and they were doing and it was like they took pictures and like short videos and they captured it with their Nintendo DS or whatever, and then proceeded to talk about what they were doing, and then they uploaded it to YouTube or whatever it was. And that was like one of the first Let's Plays.
Yeah. They so they got a lot of infamy again from the early years, just based off of that stupid like outrage, outlandish, like this is the rage bait style, outcries that people make these days for, my dad destroyed my Xbox, things like that. That dude.
That guy.
Like he was.
Well, that guy did like that guy was like an ironic sketch-based thing.
Yeah,
He's the one I think who ended up where his like dad ran over his pile of Xbox games.
Something like that, but
same
like,
guy, I think. Yeah.
But it was. There is so much to talk about. So, like I said, I want to keep the early years a little light, a little quick, and let's talk about the fact that they started sonichu as a way of
skirting copyright rules.
Yes. And
so it was for a school project. I want to say it was a high school project.
Yep.
And they were supposed to come up with like a CD or album cover, I think it was. And was it like I think it was like a programming or design class or whatever it was, and they're supposed to be doing like a CD project or whatever, like design.
This was for the Spanish class, if I remember right.
Was it for Spanish class?
Because I know that the Spanish class ties in with this on El Christopher or something like that. Yeah. The Spanish class ties in with sonichu very loosely, but it does. And I think it was the sonichu needed to be for the Spanish class. It was an art project for the Spanish class, but a thing for the Spanish class anyway. And, Pokemon had come out. He had made a little bit of notoriety with Pokemon Local News and the Sega Sonic things. And he was like, I'm going to take these two things that I love and make them one. Make it my own original character.
Well, yeah, because they're trying to do just, I think, Sonic by itself originally.
Mm-hmm. And they were told no copyright.
Yeah, no copyright characters. And then they're like, well...
This is my own original character.
Technically, yes.
Unfortunately, technically correct. Yes. The best kind of correct. And they went, like, there's just documents of it that you can look back and see all of these fake Pokemon cards and things like that were just... crossovers.
They still make the fake Pokemon card. Like, you could buy... I think you could buy, like... They made, like, a semi-official-ish version of his card game that you could buy on, like, Kickstarter now, I think.
But what I'm getting at is, like, it's all just Pokemon and Sonic fusions. Rose-Chew, Shadow-Chew, like, a plant Pokemon, like, things like that. It's not Shadow Chew.
Started incorporating My Little Pony characters too.
My Little Pony, but plants and shit like that get involved to it, and it's just like, okay, well, it's this chew or that, and it's just so.
I mean, if we're to believe what Chris Chan is saying, we're currently facing the end of days right now because My Little Pony Generation 4, whatever it is, was ended, and we're on Generation 5 of My Little Pony. We went to Gen 5 of My Little Pony too early or some shit, is what they're claiming, and that's why everything's going to shit. That's why Trump won and all this other fun stuff.
Yeah.
And ironically, it's because My Little Pony is now in the wrong generation. Somehow, like, it's a fucking car or some shit like that. Or whatever things have generations that are supposed to be wrong. Oh, man. So what makes Chris Chan a dictator for Dick December?
Yeah, this is Dick December.
Yeah, okay. Well, here, let's introduce the concept again. Bring it around for the year. This is Dick's December.
December, where we talk about dictators.
Yeah, dictators.
Or dictator-adjacent like things, like.
What is the ultimate dictator, but not the goddess of their own international dimension?
Yeah. So that's how
that's how the joke came about that we're doing this one.
Chris Chan became Dictator.
I was kind of hoping we were keeping her for next year for Shit Stain September, but well.
Oh, don't worry. There's enough lore here that we can do part 2.
Oh, please, we got more than enough people for Shit Stain September. Go check out those old episodes.
Yeah.
Shout out to them.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So Chris Chan, after they made the sonichu for the copyright skirting, proceeded to make lore for the character. And the lore involves
Quickville.
Quickville, which is...
And he was the mayor of Quickville.
He is
Christian Weston Chandler, CWC, Quickville.
Yep.
Yep.
Anyway, so...
Such an original name.
So, apparently, the story goes is that, like, Sonic was fighting Eggman, and Eggman hit him with, like, a... laser beam or whatever it was, and this caused the Chaos Emeralds to go crazy. And their magic powers hit a rogue Pikachu, a male Pikachu, by the way.
Very specific.
Very specific. This was male Pikachu at the time.
Yep.
We'll get into that. It was and wasn't and may or may not. We'll get into that. We'll get there.
For a very long while, Chris Chan was extremely homophobic.
Still kind of is.
Yeah.
When you think about it in a way, but we'll get there. Oh boy. So anyway, this rainbow beam of energy, whatever, hits the Pikachu and then proceeds to turn the Pikachu into a fusion of Sonic and Pikachu somehow.
Sonichu.
No explanation where the original Sonic went and what's up with that, or And this Sonichu then proceeded to go on adventures with their father/master Christian, who later on became themselves also. They somehow merged, but we'll get there. And at the same time, this energy also proceeded to hit a bunch of other female Raichu and other Pokemon and make the other Magichans and Amy Rose Chu and
all of this into female Pokemon adjacent, Sonic adjacent things.
Female/male, yeah. Anyway, and they then go on. So there's like...
He may or may not have also been in Quickville as the mayor of Quickville, but also used the Sonichu character as well as their character as an allegory for their character to get away with the types of things that they wanted to do. It's...
Oh, hey, is that George from last time?
George Stewart? Yeah.
Hey, what up? So carrying on, like, share, comment, subscribe, the usual. We'll get more into that in a bit, but... So anyway, carrying on, so after the characters were made or whatever, they proceeded to go on adventures of various kinds involving villains that were based off of people that Christian actually dealt with in real life, believe it or not. Well, I guess believe it or not.
Bullies, Liquid Chris, just trolls, everything.
I don't know why I say believe it or not. Usually you should just believe everything we say when it comes to Christian, even the stuff that we make up for whatever reason.
Yeah. Did you know that they're 5'10"?
Are they really?
Yeah.
5'10". Okay.
Believe it or not.
Medium-sized king? I don't fucking know.
Statistically average.
Statistically average king.
But
anyway, so they like what then proceeded to also get them infamous, although proceeded to be locally, was their Love Quest sign.
The Love Quest signs.
Which so Chris Chan,
I am a single male, 19 of age.
Wanted a female companion.
Looking for a female companion of this build, of this stats, of this type.
White only, non-smoking, has to be a virgin.
Yep.
I know, and the white only thing, go figure. Anyway.
Non-drinking, must be loyal, must be this, must be that. All these fucking requirements that just like...
And they did this at their college. Not high school. This was at their college, and also I think at the local mall too, and just
the
in
library,
public, pretty much everywhere. They would wear the sign, this cardboard sign on their chest saying,
and post them.
Yep, and they would also proceed to post flyers around offering, looking for the Love Quest.
And he got real upset with some college professors and
so
things like that because
the college professor
they would tear him
down, and so that college professor, I think the main one was like the dean of students or whatever she was. what the fuck was her name? Mary Lee Walsh or whatever I think it is.
I think that's it. She was.
Anyway.
She was a villain for I think like 3 or 4 comics.
Yeah, she got. And they ultimately got hit by the Kamehameha, which is a Kamehameha that curses people with extreme bad luck and bad things happening to them or some shit. I don't remember the exact. I don't know. It's fucking loony shit. But yeah. So that was like one of the first big villains introduced, who was through Mary Lee Walsh. I think became the. I don't know.
The pseudo Eggman adjacent type thing to their Sonic. For a few.
Well, no, because he kind of, but they also he would change their names, so technically they can't get in trouble for calling him. But like at one point, I think he makes a whole corporation of evil that's based off 4chan itself.
Yep.
I think it was like 10 cent or something like that, or.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, and then there's like the infamous like darker comics and sex stuff. Like, okay, we're going places. We're going places again.
Yeah.
So yeah, so the love signs and.
Yeah.
It's really hard to be concise with this fucker because you just keep going places. Because every time you bring something,
I want to talk about the time that he was trolled into doing a shout out dedicated to the Columbine shooters.
Oh, that's actually pretty recent. That's relatively recent, and he's done that with. He also.
He's done it with a few different people of notable. Like,
I think the other big one that he's particularly he does shouts out a lot is Randall Starr or whatever it is, the.
Randy Stair.
Yeah, Randy
or Andrew
Stair.
Blaze.
Yeah, the one who was obsessed with the
Ember.
Yeah, Ember from.
Yeah.
Danny Phantom. Why? Whatever.
Yeah, I heard about that one. The Ember Killer or whatever.
Yeah, he. But no, Chris Chan's unironically shouting out fucking mass killers.
Oh yeah, it's nuts. Well, I don't know if it's unironically because like I don't know if they know who they're even shouting out. At some point you would have to think that you know, but like if you just got told while you're doing a live stream or something to shout out, Randy Stair, would you know who that is? Just like, hey, can you do a quick shout out to my friend Randy?
I kind of do because
but I mean like if you weren't like into this shit as we are, would you just have an idea of like
I mean, so there'd be two type of people who'd be really into this. That it would be like the people who are really into the terminally online shit, and the people who are into like the terminal crew crime shit. So I don't know, two types of people, but like not really big intersection.
That's what I'm saying. Like I don't know if like
Chris Chan unironically or
like if we got
knew who the fuck we're talking about. Yeah.
If somebody did a super chat for us or a chat and said, hey, give me a shout out for my buddy blah. Like, I don't know if I'd be able to just be like, oh, yeah, I know that guy offhand.
I mean, if somebody came in here and asking for a shout out to their Uncle A, I mean, I'd be like, no? Kind of, like, I'm not going to give a shout out to that guy. I think I kind of see through that joke real quick. But, yeah, I mean, because, like, so the Columbine ones, I could kind of see him completely missing because...
Again, like Randy Stair, though.
Or
Andrew Blaze, or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah. Like, that one, though, I can see them...
I could see them just missing it as well because, like, again, if they don't know it, they don't know it. But...
You figure someone would have told them at some point, though, afterwards, at least, because they...
To get back to Love
They
Quest.
kept doing it.
To get back to Love Quest.
Oh, yeah,
they did
Quest.
the Love Quest, they did the Sweetheart Quest.
Same technical thing.
Yeah, but...
So, psychologically, a lot of people believe that what that was he was not so much looking for somebody to be, like, an actual relationship with them, but...
He just wanted a female companion. Like a friend or something.
No, it was more he was just looking for another parent. A lot of people started thinking... Because... Basically, if you read what they wanted, it was like, basically let them baby Chris and take care of them while Chris does whatever the fuck they want to do, which would be absolutely fuck all, which sounds more like a mother than a partner.
Jerk up. That's what it was.
The jerk cops were the mall ones, yeah.
Yeah.
They were the security
They were the ones
guards
that took down the love signs.
at the security. Yep.
Yeah. Because we were talking about Mary Lee Walsh.
Yeah. People who become villains in Chris Chan's stories.
Yep.
Because I think he basically just put Mary Lee Walsh's name backwards as her villain name or whatever and said, "Yep, that works." Okay.
It's so much.
The Love Quest shit was just. Ugh. I mean,
we can talk about like Megan and all of these.
We
people.
mentioned Megan with the Papa Rappa the Rappa thing.
Rappa the Rappa.
So Megan was one of his gal pals,
who he was a little obsessed with.
A little be going a short fucking.
There was also his close childhood friend, the girl from his original house before he moved. That was another one of his. But, he ended up believing, and probably was, that she was getting paid to be his friend back in the day.
Okay, so actually that's kind of true. What had happened was his gal pals from high school were being paid to be his friends.
Mm-hmm.
He had like a group of like 4 or 5 girls who would be his friends and would like, chum around with him in school or whatever and be nice to him and invite him to stuff or whatever. And as it turns out, it was like both the school and his dad like putting pressure on them to be
to just be friends with him.
Yeah. And basically the second he got out of high school, they just completely cut his ass off. And I think one of the few people who actually like was unironically his friend was Megan at the time. She was I think a friend partially through high school into college, and then they started distancing themselves at some point, I think after high school because reasons, and then he proceeded to really get more obsessed with her to the point where he drew a drawing of him and her doing like him fingering
having relations in
And-
their Quickville comic and
kind of looks or whatever.
And that really freaked Megan.
That freaked the fuck out of her.
As it should.
So she basically said, okay, I'm cutting you off. Like, she completely cut him off. She said, hey, I'm cutting you off.
We're done here.
Yeah, we're done here. And she just completely disappeared. Supposedly, there was a Chris Chan documentary from, like, 2014 or something like that.
There is a Chris Chan documentary. I don't know if it's 2014.
Well, there's a bunch of Chris Chan, but no, there's one that was never fully released.
Well, there was one that was by Chris Chan as well. That was...
No, this was done by separate people outside of Chris Chan.
Okay.
This was pre-Janio Samuel. This was like, this was like 2014, somewhere along those lines. I don't remember the exact time frame. But yeah, someone actually managed to find Megan, who I think at this point was married, and got an interview with her. And I think there's just like the one short clip going around of her going, oh yeah, he was kind of creepy or whatever. But the rest of the documentary with her interview in it has never actually got released. I think partially because she said she didn't want to release the documentary. But yeah, so she just completely disappeared except for like apparently that one little instance where she popped back up but kind of didn't. So, I mean, that's a whole... Sorry, Ty.
No, you're good. Did you Sonic choose 24? 24 years of Sonic Chew.
Wait. Is that like their canon age is 24, or it's been around for 24 years?
24 years of being around.
Okay.
I don't know the canon age. I don't want to know the canon age. That's...
Yeah, so...
That's a little much.
Yeah, we'll be treading into some weird territory if we do that.
Yeah.
Because those characters are...
Yeah. Yeah. It is what it is.
I mean...
But realistically, like I said earlier, Chris Chan had like one of the first followings on YouTube as just like this troll-worthy fucking weirdo creep guy thing. And he was continuing to do his Love Quest. He had the Sonic Chew. He was doing Sonic Chew comics. He was doing Sonic Chew videos. And like there was various gameplay updates and things like that. And it all really like started going downhill. Not that it ever had an uphill, but it all really started going downhill in like 2008 when it really started like documenting the trolling.
Well, that's...
And it's just like
I think when...
with the various voice calls and like I don't know if Liquid Chris was 08, 09, but I know that like it was just this is the most extensive like time period they have of records of phone calls, messages, videos,
And it
Quickville,
got bad.
everything from like 08 to 2010 of just 2011, just like nonstop. If this person made a move, if Chris Chan made any type of a move, somebody knew about it somehow. It was
I mean, there's the. Should we want to get into the Pickle Man thing?
yeah. Let's mention Pickle Man.
So, like, it got to the point where. So what happened was people
What
would,
happened was
people would
set up fake dates. And
fake they would set
they
up
were
fake
fans and they wanted to
people
meet
of,
them.
like,
And
yeah,
they
fake-
loved
yeah they would set-
Sonichu and
But one of them actually like got Chris to go to the actual physical location.
to the mall.
Yeah,
and
so they went to the mall, and I can't remember the mall. Everybody knows the name of the mall. I don't give a shit, but
Fashion Square Mall.
I think it's that. Whatever. Anyway, so they go to the mall or whatever it is, and they're supposed to meet at the food court, and the girl actually shows up.
This was basically a hired actor by
Kind of hired actress, like one of their friends or whatever.
some local bullies.
Yeah, by
And
some trolls. And so they meet up with Chris, and then like 3 or 4 minutes into like the date or whatever it is, and also keep in mind Chris brought his dad with him too. So like Chris's dad was there. I'm pretty sure Robert was there.
good old Bob.
They proceed to have somebody come out in a pickle costume because Chris Chan hated pickles.
Hates pickles.
Hates pickles.
Hates pickles.
Because they remind him of penises.
Yep. Again, weird timeline, and at the time, not still, but at the time, extremely homophobic. Extremely homophobic. I mean,
Still kind of is. But, again, we'll get there. So, Chris, the person kidnaps the girl, like, grabs her on the shoulders and proceeds to run off with, like, I think Christian proceeded to just kind of sit there and go, oh, fuck, and then just, like, did nothing really about it, I think, actually. Like, they just sat there, let this chick get run away with by a pickle person, and proceed to just go online and complain about their girlfriend
about the pickle person.
being kidnapped by a pickle person of all fucking things. Like, doesn't chase after him, doesn't really call the cops or anything. Just, like, this chick is stolen in broad daylight by a person in a pickle costume, and you're just like, your next move is to finish your meal or whatever, and then go home and bitch about it on YouTube. And you're just like, I mean, at some point you gotta wonder, are you in on this or not? And you're just like, I mean, because at one point, Chris Chan may or may not have been in on it because they actually proceeded to pretend to not be autistic. And then say that they're actually like a whole other person. And they drive around, and like they're just like it's the Chad person, whatever. They have like wearing a fucking fake tattoo sleeve on their arm, trying to make themselves look different or whatever. And then, like, yeah, you know, I'm not autistic. I've been faking it this whole time. I'm a normal person. I got tats or whatever. You know, I could drive and shit.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So the internet responds by going, okay, bet we're going to report you to Social Security because Chris Chan has been on Social Security disability their whole life or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's never actually, I think they've only had 2 jobs in their whole life. One of them was, I want to say, working at a Wendy's.
Yeah.
It was either a Wendy's or a Burger King, where they got fired from it for harassing children, if memory serves. Technically, according to Chris, he was trying to cheer up some children by impersonating Donald Duck, and the mother
didn't go well.
Didn't go well, and then
We'll just say it like that.
yeah. Although apparently, if you actually talk to the people involved in it, it was more like, yeah, he was an absolute gobshite worker, and then proceeded to try and interact with the customers who were just like, fuck this guy. Yeah. I think they had like one other job or whatever that only lasted like a week. I don't remember what it was specifically. Whatever. But yeah, so they've never had.
But again, this is like all going on during
Between like 2008 to 2012.
Yeah.
I want to say maybe even like 2013, 14 almost.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on like how far you want to go with it. But I'm just talking about like the severe internet harassment, where it was like this person cannot make a move. They can't leave their house without like even to date, people will try and live stream and like find Chris Chan. As soon as they find him, they're just like, oh,
Christian streams right now.
But what I mean is, like, if they're out in public, not streaming, they'll just be like, oh, live stream. Like, this is where Chris is. Here's the pin. Here's the pin. This is this.
People take pictures of Chris in public doing, like, the most recent one was him actually at the Walmart, like, shopping in Virginia, which brought about the whole him having a girlfriend arc or whatever with that Finnish chick or some...
Flutter,
whatever the fuck they're called. Is it Flutter?
I think they're going by Flutter right now.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So, okay, I guess that's where I got the Finn part from.
Yeah. Fiona? No.
Is it Fiona? It's something...
I know...
It's something with an F.
Yeah.
And supposedly they may or may not be from America originally, I think is one of the other theories. Or they might be like somebody from Chris Chan's mental home group, whatever. I don't...
Yeah, Flutter might be somebody else. I know that...
Pretty sure it was a Wendy's, is what I'm being told here.
Anyway. I'm not saying that I'm on sonichu.com with any of this info, but as of November 27th, Chris denies online rumors that claim that Flutter is pregnant. So.
Yeah, okay, Flutter's not pregnant, though. Anyway, we'll get there. But, so, I mean, Christian unironically caused a whole website to come about, too, with with Kiwi Farms. So the Kiwi Farms was really like the quick forms, and they were meant to document Christian exclusively.
Yep.
However, they proceeded to then find other locales, which we'll get into eventually. We should actually do a whole locale episode. That would be fun. There are a lot of those fuckers. Anyway. And some of them are way, way worse than Christian.
It's fine.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
Keep saying we'll get there.
Maybe.
This is the very much we'll get there episode. But, yeah, so the Quick Farms then eventually became the Kiwi Farms. And so they were shut down, I want to say 2022. Technically the original, but they're still around, kind of, sort of, just like Encyclopedia Dramatica, but... Which was also partially made for Christian, if memory serves.
No, not for Christian. However, they had their own...
Christian article. I know they had the massive... No, okay, that's right. No, Chris got into a dispute with Encyclopedia Dramatica because they were...
Because they were on it and they wanted to be off of it.
They were also saying things that Christian thought was... Which, another thing, by the way, if you want to find out information about Christian, just make up something about Christian.
And they will either confirm or deny.
Christian will either confirm it or proceed to deny it and then tell you the truth, no matter how fucky that truth is. And Christian has said some fucky and done some fucky shit. That isn't just the thing that we all know him for from back in 2021 or whatever year that was. 2021? 2021.
Yeah. And by we all, we'll get to that. We might get to that.
We'll touch on it in a minute.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, like, you could have made Chris Chan do almost anything or do any, like, do you want to mention the Fanta?
Go for it.
So, Chris Chan was of the belief that you only had a certain amount of fluid in you and you needed to recycle it.
Yeah.
And people are like, Bet, are you serious? And he's like, yeah, I'll show you.
Proceeds to pull out a 2-liter thing of Fanta,
pour himself a cup, and then proceed to
drink said fluid.
In the Fanta, like, make the fluid and then proceed to drink said fluid in the Fanta. Thank Christ I'm drinking Sunkist right now. Anyway.
Not sponsored.
And to the sociopaths, I'm still on my first drink. Give me a minute, I'll get to my second one. That's a shout out to whatever episode that joke came from.
Yeah.
And this is on top of, like, doing things like recording sex tapes of themselves and their blow-up dolls. Well, I want to say it was Megan's name, too. Calling it Megan's name.
Or other various love interests at the time.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't just one time.
Nope, they did it multiple times. And this was with people who, were pretending to be his girlfriends, and
There were Zoom calls, and they were
well, this is pre-Zoom,
Skype,
so
and they
Skype,
were
yeah.
AOL Messenger, and they were all sorts of things like this.
And people would record them, or Chris would record
course.
himself doing these things. And eventually, it kind of got to the head with the Blue Spike saga. I want to say.
I want to say, if you really want to go in depth with this time period, Geno Samuel, again, we shouted him out at the beginning. He has 28 episodes worth of this time period. Just from like 2009 to 2010, there's 28 episodes worth of it. It's nuts.
Yeah, no, it's bad. But again, it kind of, the first real spike in head in this came with the Blue Spike saga, which was, and this is not a joke here, I think it was 10-year-old or 12-year-old boy who pretended to be a love interest for Chris. And then also somehow managed to steal Chris's PlayStation Network information.
Yep.
Because Chris...
There's also been a lot of, like, Chris made websites and Chris made YouTube channels and PlayStation networks and things like that that have just been hijacked by trolls.
Oh, yeah, no. Chris has gone through, I want to say, like 4 or 5 PSN accounts that were hijacked and stolen and destroyed or corrupted or whatever.
YouTube pages.
Yeah, like 4 or 5 different YouTube pages. Something
just websites in general.
Because we can only assume this fucker doesn't know how to change their password.
I mean, that's one thing we could assume.
Yeah. So, they, so Blue Spike pretends to be a
female love interest.
A female love interest. And they then say that this female love interest was assaulted and is pregnant by the Pickle Man. And this is not the chick who was kidnapped. This was a different love interest. And so the Pickle Man assaulted her or whatever, and now she's pregnant. And Chris can either choose between the pregnant female love interest or his PlayStation account.
Yep.
Chris assumed that by making the right choice of the pregnant love interest, he would get both back, but he wasn't. Blue Spike then proceeded to make Chris shove his 4chan medallion into his ass. And this is all being done live on like a Skype call or whatever.
Skype, AOL, whatever they used at the time.
Yeah. And he was crying, like, so they had him first try and shove it up there. It doesn't fit. So then he makes him chop it up. And I think we want to say we're on like 4. This is like the third medallion, maybe?
It doesn't matter.
We'll get there. So, chop this medallion up, shove it up his ass. And this is on Skype. And at that point, even the other trolls are like, dude, you're going too far. This is too much. On top of that, you're a fucking kid making an adult do this type of stuff.
Yeah.
This is proceeding to go into weird levels of amoral. Because first, like one of our things we've harped on, particularly the last couple of episodes with this type of stuff, was like, don't fucks with the children. And
this is a children's fucking with a mentally children
with a mentally handicapped adult. So we're reaching into weird gray areas of fuckery here. And so Blue Spike then proceeds to kind of just get also themselves almost bullied and trolled out of the space. And from there it kind of really reaches a lull until Chris proceeds to do the gender change. Where Christian...
Well, again, in between that, there was, assaults on GameStop, getting banned from GameStop, getting banned from card stores.
The GameStop and assault stuff was after the gender change.
But I'm saying,
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so...
Verbal assaults where he gets kicked out of GameStop. Not just assault.
Oh, you're talking... I was talking about the pepper spray incident, because that was after the gender change.
Yeah, I was not talking about that one.
You're thinking... Are you sure you're not thinking about the game stores with, the Magic... with the Yu-Gi-Oh cards?
Well, he gets kicked out of those.
Oh, yeah, he got kicked out of those too.
Kicked out of and banned from various GameStops as well prior to the gender change because they, fucked up random shit and, he was destructive of property. Not the pepper spray.
Well, the big pepper spray incident came about after the gender change,
Yes.
and what had happened was
What happened was
this was when that Sonic game where they changed Sonic's arms from white or tan or whatever color to blue.
Yep.
And Christian didn't like this change, along with a lot of people. And what's it called? Come back to that. Sorry. Yeah, so goes into the game stores, and at first what he'd do is he'd take like paint markers and draw on the covers of the game, changing Sonic's arms. And they're like, you can't do that, stop that shit. So what he then would do was make like a sticky note saying, don't buy this game, Sonic's arms aren't blue, and would put them on the games.
Yep.
And so the manager or whatever came and was like, nah, you can't be doing that shit, son. And you got to get out of here. So
Yeah.
Chris pepper sprays the person on the way out. No, not the manager. They pepper spray a random employee that was like they were passing by on the way out. And they were then proceeded to be arrested. And this was shortly after, was it this one or was it the other one? Was shortly after his father passed away.
That's a good question.
Because he got arrested the first time, because this was like the second time they got arrested. The first time they got arrested, and this is no joke, was for running over a game store employee. So we'll go to that one real quick. So what happened there
What happened
was Christian used to frequent a local game store for like I think it was like the
Cards.
yeah,
Card
card
game
games. I think it was like Yu-Gi-Oh at the time, and the manager just ended up banning Chris for whatever reason it was. I think because he was like harassing some female players or whatever it was. Anyway,
Doesn't matter.
so
Not to us. To Gino it does.
did you know? Right. So,
He's the OG.
I feel bad for his neighbors.
Oh, man.
You ever? It's so funny because he's okay. So real quick, Gino's like lives in China or Hong Kong or something like that, and he's like white guy. I think he's like whatever. And when he's recording, whenever Christian does something in capital letters, he'll shout the words. So you'll just hear him shout all of a sudden penis or vagina really loud. And you're just like, oh man, I gotta feel for his fucking neighbors because all of a sudden you just hear penis or vagina loudly at random times. Anyway. So the GameStop employer proceeds to follow Chris and his mother, who was there at the time, because he. Oh no, this was okay. I'm slightly wrong here. This was after he got banned. He went back to the game store a little while later with his mother to ask to be unbanned, right? Mm-hmm. So when they said no, you're not unbanned, and I'm going to proceed to trespass you, and call the cops if you stay here. So they're like, okay, I guess we're leaving, and the manager's like following them out to make sure they leave. Chris proceeds to hit this fucker with his car. And then his mother, who had came in a separate car, proceeds to run his ass over also.
Yep.
And they both get arrested. And I think this was actually the one that was this one or the... Yeah, no, this was the one, yeah. Because it was for the both of them, because it was both their court fees, yeah. So his father, Robert, had passed away like a year or so earlier ago, and they got a pretty decent amount of money from his estate.
Life insurance.
Yeah, life insurance, estate, whatever.
Just...
from him being alive.
Yeah.
Dead old people have money.
Sometimes.
Not all the time. But, and because of this, they had to spend like almost all their money on court fees or whatever, and like legal shit and everything, and so they pretty much went through all of the money on legal fees, and he ended up having to sell his father's stamp collection.
Yep.
In order to
His
at that
father's
point
prized
just kind of
stamp collection.
help have money in the house and whatever. And again, his mother's like probably on like Social Security herself. She's fixed income. He doesn't have a job. He's going off whatever he can scrap from like Patreon or just wherever he's scrapping it from. And he's on
donations.
Social Security. But he's spending all of his Social Security money on video games and Lego sets and other things like that. So
Childlike wonderment.
yeah, like every dollar he pretty much gets that doesn't go to like food for him basically goes into toys and video games.
Yeah. It's
I mean, they have two smartphones that they made a special duct tape case for that holds them together so they can play Pokemon Go on two different accounts at once.
Yep.
Like, yeah, no, again, this like every dollar they basically get goes into this type of stuff, and it's crazy. But anyway, so you're
no. It's just there's so much to unpack with Chris. That's why I'm like, I don't even like know where to start, where to talk, because everything that we're saying, somebody has done it better.
Pretty much.
Unironically, somebody has done it better.
That's with a lot of our episodes, really.
Well, no, I mean, like, some of our episodes are good.
Oh no, some of our episodes are great. I'm just, yeah.
But it's just like, this is the most documented person on the internet. If you want to know anything about this person, guess what? It's out there. They have been let's talk about the dimensional merge and like the latest update, the 20.
So, yeah, we'll get into what caused Chris Chan to become the Dict in our Dict December this month. Do you want to start or should I?
No, it's all you. You've been leading this one. Have fun with it.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I like it.
So around 2019, I want to say it was, a group of trolls. So
2018.
Was it 2018 that started?
October 2018.
So late 2018, early whatever, into 2019, a group of trolls popped up calling themselves the Idea Guys, and their goal was essentially to exploit Chris into insanity. And like most other, trolls had like the goals of just, getting a laugh or maybe trying to like exploit some money out of him or something like that. Or, various other
expose some type of profound secret that they never knew that they needed to know.
Right, yeah. Like a lot of the original trolls were just, let's just poke the bear, see what happens kind of deal, fuck around. The Idea Guys, though, decided to essentially go, we're going to
corrupt this person.
Yeah. And they proceeded to convince Chris that everything he thought is true, more or less. Like everything he thinks is like going on, like with his Quickville, all that stuff is real and true, and that at any point in time, these things are about to fuse into one single dimension, more or less.
Yeah.
So he believes that there is infinite dimensions and universes, a la Rick and Morty, right? And that everything in fiction is its own separate universe going on right now, and that the authors are more or less just kind of prophets to this dimension or whatever, and not just imagination, whatever.
Yeah.
Now, and at some point in the future, the boundaries between these fictional and real dimensions is going to break down, and
it's just going to be one giant dimensional merge.
Yeah. And you're either going to fuse with your other dimensional counterparts,
or get taken over, or
just die.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a lot of people will also just straight up die because they're bad people. Think of it as kind of like the Rapture / Christian Armageddon mixed with
Highlander.
I was gonna say Infinite Crisis from DC.
Highlander.
Yeah, whatever. Highlander rules. There can be only one dimension. Anyway.
Works for me.
Right. So, yeah, they also exploited Chris Chan out of about $60,000 in Social Security and donations and stuff too. But that's another
a different story.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever fully got that back too.
That's a different story.
Yeah. So now, yeah, they. So once all these dimensions merged, he would take over as one of the gods of said merged dimension because he was one of the prophets of the dimensions or whatever, and he was also one of the people who was like more psychically connected to the other characters from these dimensions. This leads us into him becoming do you have the full title on hand from
Not on hand.
Christian, goddess Christian Weston Chandler, Blue Heart of the Commodore 64, Quickville, and Sonichu, something like.
It's a long.
Yeah,
title.
declaring themselves a god of whatever.
Of their universe. And
now, if you want to know what I'm talking about when they say the Commodore 64 and Goddess Blueheart, another thing they got influenced by was Hyperdimension Neptunia, which I really wish Tom was here for because he's a fan of that series, where essentially the avatars of console systems like PlayStation, Xbox, although they have their fictional off names for the games, technically, it'd be like Xboxeru and Preshishi. Sorry, being a little
doesn't
racist.
matter.
So he thinks that he is the Hyperdimension Neptune character for the Commodore 64 video game console, specifically.
Yep.
I think that's the one that had Pong on it. I'm not sure.
Maybe. I don't
know. If you know any games for the Commodore 64, please leave them. Anyway.
I don't know. After a while, it's just like I stopped keeping up with the Chan lore because it's just.
Well, after
you feel bad almost, depending on like what segment you're listening to and how like the idea guys literally like.
I mean,
fucked this person's brain so much.
Oh yeah,
with this stupid shit.
Like again, they now believe that they are a goddess of a video game console, and that they are also at the same time Sonichu themselves incarnate physically in this version.
For a little bit, they body swapped or whatever. They were.
That was a whole. We'll get there in a second. Like. Now, originally, when you read the comics, it was very much that Christian and Sonichu were two separate characters.
Yeah.
Christian was Sonichu's trainer or whatever.
Yeah.
After the idea guys, it became him and Sonichu were the same person, and he became like the head character of Sonichu, whatever, and so they kind of fused, and he then proceeds to also marry.
Here it is. Signing a letter as Mrs. Jesus Christian Weston Chandler, Sonichu, the Goddess, Blueheart, and Lord of All.
Well, we haven't gotten to the Jesus part because the Jesus parts came after prison.
Yeah, but like that's the
full title. Yeah,
that's the
full. Yeah. So, yeah, we'll get to the whole thinking he's Jesus part in a second. Anyway, yeah. So he then proceeds to believe that he is married to both Magic-chan, which is another fused, and also the Pokemon Mewtwo. Specifically the one from the first movie that is like sentient with like full human cognizance or whatever the fuck. And I want to say he was also married to another third one, but I don't remember the third character. It might have been Amy Rose Chu also. Although, which is or am I thinking
Kryzel Rose Chu.
Kryzel Rose Chu? Okay,
Kryzel
Rose Chu is the other one. No, right, because he couldn't be married to Amy Rose Chu, right? Because Amy Rose Chu is technically his daughter,
and also Sylvana as well.
So there's 4 of them he's married to.
Yeah.
Poor fucker. Not really. Yeah. So they would. Yeah. So they're married to these characters technically, and when you pass away, your spirit will then proceed to merge with one of the other dimensions. And this is probably one of the places where I feel the worst of it, because he thinks that his dad is now in Quickville as, I want to say it's a beaver or something along those lines, whatever. Like, and they're like, Sonichu OC character.
Please don't steal.
Please don't steal. And is watching over everything now with like the other characters, and at one point you're just like, ugh, no, I'm sorry. It's fucking buck wild. But yeah,
it's crazy.
So the Jesus part came about when they were in prison, and they
which time was that?
The
most recent.
The biggest one. The most recent one. Where they thought that
they needed to have relations with their mother.
Yeah, so
we'll phrase it like that.
Yeah, Christian got arrested for having relations with his 87-year-old mother, who may or may not be, well, definitely has dementia, but like we're not 100% sure how cognizant they are with this now, especially since they were driving shortly after this happened, allegedly, at some point. So yeah, Christian did that and went to jail, and while they were in jail, they proceeded to think that this was akin to the tribulations of Jesus being crucified, and that they are Jesus
Due to it.
And that they are now like a martyr who, I guess, either must die and be resurrected or whatever for the dimensional merge to like fully happen, or it's like happening because that they were arrested in this. Yeah, so essentially Chris thinks they're the second coming of Jesus now.
Yep.
I think the line was like, I think the line from the letter was, if you look in a picture of my eyes and look at a picture of Jesus on the cross, you'll see that they are the same eyes, or some shit like that. You're just like, what? So, anyway. Yeah, so Christian got arrested in like 2021 for that.
Relations.
Yeah. And this was, again, after the idea guys had basically completely gaslit this fucker into almost insanity, basically. Like,
Not almost. Like, he
Yeah.
wasn't exactly stable beforehand.
Yeah, no.
But, like, this really set him over the edge and just, like, you're gone.
Yeah, like, it's... Like, again, he once spent, like, a whole year, like, almost completely disassociating himself into thinking that he was Sonichu and that he himself was in Quickfield doing other things. And, like, well, believe it or not, he was actually sent, I think, to a female prison for a while at first. Comment. So, because they identify as female, so at first sent into a prison for a while, but I think they were there for about a year and a half, almost 2 years. I want to say they ended up going to a female psychiatric facility, or like being put in the psychiatric ward of the prison for most of it, until essentially the state said,
We can't handle this.
like,
We don't have good enough therapists.
yeah. No, well, essentially, I think what happened was the state basically said, we kept him locked up for about as long as he would have been kept locked up if we actually fully pushed through the charges, and we can only, like...
Legally keep him so much longer.
Yeah, and on top of that, you know, we can only legally, like, help this man's mentality so much that, like, because mental health services in this country are fucky. Clearly. So... Yeah, so he got released to, I want to say, like some sort of halfway house, and then that's when the whole Flutter arc is now started.
Yeah.
It.
You know what? If you want to know more about Flutter, and if you want to know more about Fiona and the updates of Chris Chan, hear us talk more about Chris Chan and the things that we didn't cover on this episode, let's get us to 50 likes.
Okay.
On this episode. Why not? Something real low. Something real minor.
Wow,
Real
first ever
insignificant.
like goal for a video. That's a new one.
Yeah.
Are we going to push through our usual like, share, comment,
Yeah,
subscribe?
let's do our like, share, comment, subscribe nonsensory, and we'll end it here. We'll leave them on a cliffhanger. We'll see if they really want that part
We've
two.
already told way more than enough weird Chris Chan stories.
We'll see if they want that part too. Go ahead. Fill them in on the subscribes.
All right, at 250, we are giving away one of them T-shirts.
Well, not one of these ones.
Yeah, not the one
The
he's
updated
wearing.
ones.
Yeah, the updated ones with new coloring or whatever. At 500, we open up our Pornhub channel through the Looking Ass, where we review old celebrity Playboy issues like
Top-down view.
yeah, like Vanna
Cover
White
to
was the
cover.
original. I have Trump's 1990 Playboy interview. I think I got Chrissy Teigen. And it's like, you know, we're doing the whole thing. The story.
Cover to cover, total reviews, total readouts.
Well, not total readout, because it'll probably be like an hour and a half fucking video or whatever. But we'll figure it out when we get there. We'll see. We'll play it by ear. Anyway, From there, after 500, I
750, we're getting a Sprite Boy made by one of our buddies.
keep
Pat.
forgetting the 750 Sprite Boy one.
At 1,000, we are legally marrying 2 people forcibly.
I'm an ordained minister, and I can do that.
I think we're allowed to say legally and forcibly at the same time when it comes to marriage. Don't quote me.
I don't know. Depends on the state.
1,001, one of our buddies is going to give away a Lego Humvee for you guys. At 2,500, we have Superfan Charles, not his real name, but Superfan Charles is going to get an Assassin's Creed tattoo on his nipple. Million?
Million is we go to Joe Rogan's studio and steal his katana sword. That 500-year-old one he has on his wall or whatever it is. Because heist movie special. Was there any other ones that we just... I think that's all the...
I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's all the... Yeah, so, you know...
Like I said, if you want to see more, hit that like button.
He has got a suggestion for a Dictator for December. We'll gladly take one if you want to be a guest on an episode.
We love guests.
We love guests. It's always more fun when we actually have a guest to like sit there and nerd out instead of me doing this because I just
Or me.
Yeah.
Depending on the episode.
Yeah, so you know, if you want to be a guest and show up and have fun, you could call in, be in person, whatever you want. We're always
Whatever's
open.
easiest.
Anything else you think of?
I think that's it. Good night, Charles.
Yeah.
Good night, Goobers.
Yeah, good night. Again, like, share, comment, subscribe, the usual nonsense. I mean, I think this kind of new format was going all right, so we might keep to this. I don't know.